Holy shit. There are actually studies showing the benefit of using poop in treating obesity. In a study done with non-identical twins, where one twin was thin and the other twin had obesity, stool samples from the thin twin were taken and transplanted into the intestine of the twin with obesity. Fascinatingly, the twin with obesity had significant improvement in metabolic parameters after receiving stool from their thin twin. This is called a fecal transplant and is the subject of a significant amount of emerging research. We have more bacteria, fungi, and viruses in our intestine than we have cells in our entire body. This collection of organisms is referred to as the microbiome and is essential for our health. One of the reasons you're going to hear so many people talk about the importance of probiotics and fiber is because they can truly help your gut, which can in turn improve your health. And as you might expect, the food we eat has a major role in our gut microbiome. Our microbiome can also explain why some people eat very little food and gain a lot of weight, while other people eat a whole lot of food and gain almost no weight. Do probiotics really work? And if so, which are the best ones to buy? The surging interest in the human microbiome has definitely fueled a frenzy in probiotic use. But for the average person with a healthy gut, the majority of scientific studies would clearly state that probiotics offer no benefit whatsoever to your health. There are a few food-grade probiotics out there that do have some science behind them, but for the probiotics you're going to find in your grocery store or health food aisle, they're really simply not worth your money. There are a few instances in which probiotics can be helpful, especially in the neonatal intensive care unit for certain newborn infections, for patients taking antibiotics, and for people who suffer from irritable bowel syndrome. But if your gut is healthy, it's really a waste of your money. Scientists and researchers don't even know which probiotics are beneficial and in what ratios. We don't even know the best ways to properly deliver them into the gut right now. This is a really promising field, but right now it's too early to make any definitive statements on what's best. You don't need a fecal transplant to improve your overall health and start losing weight. But here are 8 ways to scientifically improve your gut microbiome and your overall health. Not surprisingly, all of these have to do with what we eat. I would argue that there's nothing more important for our health than the food we ingest. Eat a diverse range of foods, as a diverse microbiome is a healthy one. Whole foods are best for that. Largely due to their fiber content, fruits and vegetables are the best source of nutrients for a healthy microbiome. Eat fermented foods, especially plain natural yogurt. Try to avoid artificial sweeteners, as they can have a negative impact on your gut microbiota. Prebiotics help promote the growth of healthy bacteria in the intestines, so taking in prebiotic food is very helpful. Eat a diet rich in whole grains and avoid refined grains when possible. Eat a plant-based diet. Consume foods rich in polyphenols. What about probiotics? Check out my next video for that answer. And let me know in the comments what are the health topics you want to learn about. I've made a lot of posts lately about the microbiome, and this one's going to deal with childhood obesity rates. Researchers reviewed the incidence of antibiotic use at an age less than 2 and compared that to rates of childhood obesity by age 5 in a study of 64,000 kids. 3 major conclusions stood out from this trial. 1, the number of exposures to antibiotics by children, meaning the number of times kids were put on antibiotics, had a major correlation to childhood obesity by the age of 5. Number 2, the use of broad-spectrum antibiotics compared to narrow-spectrum antibiotics was associated with the higher risk of childhood obesity. And 3, the younger the age the child was put on antibiotics, the higher the risk of obesity. Now, I'm not saying never to use antibiotics in children. When I was an infant, I had a serious infection that required the use of antibiotics, and I'm certainly not overweight, other than a little bit of a dad bod. But as prescribers, sometimes we're too eager to use antibiotics in children, and as parents, sometimes we push for antibiotics in situations when they're not warranted. Alteration of the gut microbiome at an early age can have lasting impacts as we get older. And it really just shows how important our gut is to our overall health.